council.
Thanks for coming out, everyone.
He's got your back. That's right.
Thank you for coming out. Last week, we saw the FBI raid the county building and cart off boxes of documents related to alleged corruption in county government. Like any citizen who saw this on TV or read it in the newspaper, I was disturbed and angry. As I've said from the beginning of this campaign, we must take bold steps that are in line with our values to root out corruption if we're going to do right by the taxpayers and move this county into the 21st century. A few weeks ago, I unveiled a comprehensive plan to restore the people's faith in government by creating a fully independent office of the Inspector General. The person who heads up this office would be recommended by the local bar associations and have full autonomy to investigate all aspects of county government. I've also said since the beginning that I will have a zero-tolerance policy for corruption in county government and have a full house cleaning when I arrive on the job. This would include firing all those from top to bottom who are still skating by and cheating the taxpayers. As I talk to people throughout Cook County, one name continues to pop up in reference to the FBI raid and latest scandals plaguing our county. His name is Gerald Nichols. I'd like to address his situation today before I continue on my campaign. Mr. Nichols is an employee of the current administration, and therefore I cannot speak to his current employment and the disciplinary action taken against him. I've known Gerald for most of my life and appreciate the friendship he has with my father and my family. However, I want to make it crystal clear, Gerald Nichols does not work for my campaign. When I'm Cook County Board President, Gerald Nichols will not work for Cook County. If he is still on leave when I take office, I will ask and accept his resignation. Period. As your president, I will put a fresh stamp on government and clean house in deference only to the taxpayers. Each employee from upper management to lower level staff will be reviewed thoroughly and be made accountable. We will ask only these questions. Is this person qualified to do his or her work? Is the job necessary, and is the product good for taxpayers? The people of Cook County deserve this, and that's what we will give them. I appreciate your time today and look forward to moving on with the campaign. Thank you.
Todd, you didn't say anything about the 8th Ward. You mentioned Gerald is not part of the campaign. You said that before.
That's all for today. Thanks.
Are you not going to answer any questions?
Not today.
No question. We don't can't answer questions, so there's not going to be any story.
Backfire.
Bill, that's nothing. I can do a story. Can I take questions? That's nothing.
Okay. He's never said that before.
Hey, Bill, next time keep around long enough for cutaways.
Okay.
You don't think that Gerald Nichols is
Hey, Mike, are you good for a couple questions?
I'm in here to help you out? I got to go.
Oh, you got to go. Well, so that was very brief. Does that mean he's not in the 8th Ward either? He's out of everything?
Yeah, he was taken off the 8th Ward treasurer's position before.
So he's out of the 8th Ward, out of the campaign, and
Right.
he'll be out of county government.
Correct.
So, okay, go ahead. Sorry, everybody else.
What about other former Stroger, John Stroger connected people? What about Mr. Orlando?
I can't speak to him.
Anybody
It's
else
not
you
anything
talk
I-
about who you guys are ruling out, ruling in?
I cannot help you with that.
But just to be clear, regarding the 8th Ward, Tom had said on Monday that over the weekend Gerald stepped down as secretary of the organization.
Correct. Not treasurer, secretary. Correct.
Has he cut his ties completely from the organization, or is he still a volunteer?
He is not a volunteer with the 8th Ward.
Is he a precinct captain? Marlo Colvin said he was still a precinct captain. Last week.
That's not what I understood.
So your understanding is he's cut his ties completely from the 8th Ward?
Correct. Correct.
Phil, can you tell us two quick things? That's the first time I recall Todd making a brief. Why didn't he stick around for questions about that and other things, including Bobby Steele's dramatic revelations yesterday? Wouldn't it make
Quite
sense?
honestly, I think this is a very difficult thing for him to do. As he said, he's known Gerald Nichols most of his life. I think this was a tough thing for him to do. He had not seen Mr. Nichols for quite a long time. He did reach him, talk to him, told him what his intent was.
So was it emotion? I mean, how would you describe it? You're basically cashiering a lifelong, almost like a brother.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the relationship was. I would say it might be more like a Dutch uncle. And I think that, you know, Gerald Nichols had become a scab that was being picked at by his opponent, and a move had to be made. Todd has referred to old leadership, and I think that's what he took today.
How hard was it for him, though, from a personal standpoint?
I was just picking up on his voice, and I thought it was difficult for him.
Bill, can you explain, I mean, why should, given that lifelong relationship, and a very long time relationship, why should we credit a last-minute cashiering here a few weeks before the election, when, in fact, Todd and he have had this very, very close relationship? Does it not strain credulity to think that Todd didn't really understand the role that Mr. Nichols was playing in county government?
It'd be difficult for me to understand. I mean, I haven't been around long enough to know exactly what Mr. Nichols' role was. I think that this was something that was gnawing at the alderman, and he decided to take action.
If I may,
but dumping him at this point, he's saying, you know, well, I wasn't part of all that.
Well, he's not in a position to dump him, though, Mike. I mean, it's really more of a situation where he's talking about what action he'll take if he's elected.
But no, he is in a position at the board.
From the ward, granted.
Yeah,
right.
And I mean, and that's what he's done today.
Right, and you know, we know from reports last week that Gerald was in the office, and it just doesn't bode well for Todd's ability to talk about the issues going forward.
But if I can just get an answer on this point, I'm wondering when we might be able, maybe you can tell me when we could ask Todd about this.
Oh, he'll be around.
I'm sorry?
He'll be around.
He'll be around today?
Not today.
Could we get something
definitive?
If I may ask
something definitive later
if I
today.
just finish up. So let me just ask you then this question, since he's not here. Why should we believe that Todd wasn't part of what Mr. Nichols was doing at the ward, since it was, as I understand it, Todd was one of the supervisors there, or the supervisor, certainly in recent months. He knew what Mr. Nichols' role was. We all knew what Mr. Nichols' role was.
At the ward you're talking about? Okay. What was his role?
Well, it was a storage-like role. It was coordinating the political hires and promotions. It was making
this is
sure
where I
that
have to step up, Mike. I can't answer that part. I don't know the answers to that.
Well, Todd could answer that, though, and that, when will Todd answer that question?
Well, I guess it'll come around again, but the truth of it is that, you know, Gerald worked at the county. Okay, his role at the ward had always been as a volunteer.
May I ask you one last thing that you may or may not be able to answer, Bill, and that is, normally when lifelong friends have to be severed in tough political times, accommodations are made so that their families don't suffer economic hardships. The mayor's pretty good at firing people who quickly pop up somewhere else making decent money because that's part of the way it works. What, if anything, is Todd going to do to help Gerald so that he doesn't end up having to go on welfare?
You're right, Andy. I cannot answer that. I don't think he'll be going on welfare. Thank you.
Bill, is Donna Dunning still a treasurer of the campaign?
No, not on the campaign.
I mean, of the ward.
Do you know who the new secretary and treasurer is?
Thanks for coming out. I'm sorry that some people were disappointed.